run in that third position. Also watch the 7 of Derek Fulton. He's going to be also up there as well. But looks like the pace car pulls in, and we're going to be back green here at New Hampshire. Derek Fulton is going to clear Nicholas Sacco. Looks like Sacco's going to keep third. But Maines, he's side by side with Fulton for third, and he's gotten up to Nicholas Sacco. He's about on his quarter, maybe.
Oh, yeah, he's sticking right there with him. But it looks like Sacco's going to clear into the second position. Maines finds his home in the third. And Derek Fulton and Gagnon back at it for the top 4. Gagnon's probably happy. Well, actually, no, he was able to get the tires. But I would say the rest of the field is pretty happy they got that caution. Otherwise, they'd be chasing these guys all race long for the ending. And some of these guys, such as Matthew Lee, wouldn't have had the shot with those older tires.
Oh, tagging the wall, an exit of 2. Matthew Lee gets all the way up there and gets a little bit of probably right side damage on that 04 machine.
With all the wrecking he's done, that's probably the first time that he's hurt that right side of the truck. It's all been left side damage so far, I noticed, on that truck. He kept the right side clean, so now I guess he just took a little bit of Days of Thunder strategy. Said hit everything in the pace car. He finally took the right side off that truck. Now he can go get after it. He's going to try to chase down Derek Fulton here for another position. Sorry, Brandon Gagnon.
He still does have that left side damage on that machine, and you're right, he is tracking down Brandon Gagnon for that 6th position.
Yeah, Sacco has not quite had enough like he did earlier for the 1 truck. Matthew Lee was one of the few that could really stick with him, but the 1 truck has just taken off there. Garrett Maines is putting on a show. Jason is now falling to Derek Fulton. They're getting door to door here into 3.
Yep, there's Derek Fulton. He's trying to get by that 2 of Jason Maines. Gagnon's also there. It looks like Maine's going to clear, and then they're side by side. Brandon Gagnon, Derek Fulton. Derek Fulton is on the bottom, so he has a little bit more of the advantage, but we've seen drivers like Nicholas Sacco run very good on the high side, so we'll see if Brandon Gagnon is right behind Jason Maines, so he really doesn't have anywhere to go. Like you said, at a track like New Hampshire, if you get too close to the back bumper or a car for a long period of time, it'll definitely blow the engine. Oh, and we got contact.
Fulton gets Maines there, takes him out, not on purpose, that's for sure. It just looks like Maines had to step off of it a little bit, coming up off and gather it, and Fulton catches him on the left rear.
But they saved it. Jason Maines, he ended up saving it. He got almost sideways, and he turned that car back around, and as we continue, no caution came out.
Wow, yeah, tough break for Jason Maines. Also, it was Derek Fulton there, right, that caught him?
Yep.
Yeah, tough break for those guys. When the yellow does not fly and it takes that much position from you, it looks like they're going to lose several spots each. And Derek Fulton's now going to fight a tight hot rod with that right front, even more damage than it was earlier. Seems as though the 2 truck kind of has the same amount of damage there in the back. He's going to try to work his way back to the front. They actually are getting into a good little gaggle of cars here towards the back. There's about 4 or 5 guys stacked up on one another, and maybe the 2 truck can work his way back to the front. As we're seeing here, Garrett Maines continues his dominating day. You still have him as leading all the laps. I just can't even keep up with this guy. He's so fast.
Yep, he's still led every single one of these laps today here at New Hampshire, and he might lead every single lap till the finish. That's only really been done, but I feel like I've seen a lot of races with Garrett Maines in them, and he's probably done that a time or 2 before. He didn't let pit stop him. He hasn't let anything stop him. He's had cars challenging him for the lead. Just an overall good day, but he doesn't want to get too cocky despite him having a 2-second lead, because he's still got a lot of race ahead of him.
Oh, absolutely. Jason Maines here towards the back is trying to make his way. He made a move on the 6 truck. Didn't quite get him.
Looks like he's getting by Nick Horvath.
Yeah, he's working on Horvath. I'm sorry, I was a little bit backed up here. I got him. They're just passing the 95 truck. Now going to set sail and try to catch the 6 truck of Jimmy Frazier.
Glad to see that Jason Maines is trying to get back up through the field, and he has enough car to get by Jimmy Frazier. Jimmy Frazier was involved in that previous wreck where he ended up spinning off of exit 2. Looks like he still has a little bit of damage on that 6 car.
Now, if you're Garrett Maines, you got to be hoping there's not a yellow here. We're coming down to 29 laps to go for these guys. He's driven off to a 2-second lead, but if the yellow comes out, he's got a decision to make. And again, like you said last week at Dover, he apparently made the wrong decision with not getting the tires. He's going to have to rethink that here. We have 9 cars on the lead lap, 9 cars that can come back and win this race. If someone was to come down and get those tires, remember, it was a second difference per lap. And when it comes down to 10 or 15 laps to go, you got to make the call. Do I want track position or do I want the fresh rubbers?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a very hard decision when it comes to that time of the race. That's going to be up to the drivers and the spotters. It really depends on how you are in points. Maybe if you're far back into the season, then and you're not really in contention for this one. I mean, you got nothing to lose then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you got to look at it points wise, you also got to think if you're second through 9th, you have to come down and pit unless Garrett comes down and pits. Then you got to figure, okay, I got to stay out. It's my only shot at least making up 1 position. It's really the only way to beat the 1. It's almost as though the 1's like, you know, on a catbird seat here. He's gonna have these guys doing the opposite of what he thinks is right. So he's got to hope he's got enough time to come from the back with the fresh tires, or just risk it and hope nobody behind him comes in. It's going to be really tough outcome here for him if the yellow does fly. But, you know, hopefully for him it doesn't, and we can come to a nice clean race for his sake. But we'll just have to see how it all plays out.
If anything can still happen here at New Hampshire, and still a lot of race left, but at the same time there is not a lot of race left here at New Hampshire. And right now Garrett Maines is 3 seconds ahead of Brandon Gagnon and Nicholas Saku and Matthew Lee. The 83, these guys are, you could put a blanket over these 3 cars right here.
They're hustling. Yeah, Gagnon just cleared to 29 for second, and now Matthew Lee is trying to do the same move here. He's gotten alongside of him here. Now it's getting late in the race. Is it time for the slide job that I've been talking about for hours? I don't think so. He's already got him. He beat him before the end of the straightaway. The best way to make a pass, but most times here at New Hampshire, it's not so easy. He made it look easy there.
Yeah, that was a very good pass done by the 04 of Matthew Lee. I mean, he's now going to try to track down Brandon Gagnon for second.
He's working on the back bumper there. See if he can get to him here before it's all over.
Yep, he started in the second position outside of Garrett Maines at the start of this race, but it's been a roller coaster day for the 04. And if he can get a second place finish, I think he'd be very happy with that. I mean, even third, he'd also be pretty satisfied or happy with that finish.
Yeah, I would definitely be happy for getting back into the top 3 after everything Matthew Lee has gone through. He's really fought back tough. But as a driver, you're never truly happy until you get the position you know you're worth. And he thinks right now he's worth second place because he's ran down that 83 truck of Brandon Gagnon. So he's going to try all he can to get to him. And he'll be mad at himself if he doesn't get to him and he's got that shot. So I guarantee everything he can is being laid out on the table here. He's actually losing a little bit on the 83.
Yeah, if you look at the lap times, he's about a 10th slower than Brandon Gagnon. Brandon Gagnon has fresher tires than him. That could be the case on what's going on here.
Oh, definitely. every little bit of tire definitely helps. I don't know, Matthew Lee seems to overcome anything. So if anybody can overcome a tire difference, it's probably him.
Actually, no, now that I'm looking at it, I was looking at the wrong thing. He actually does, they're both actually the same, but Brandon Gagnon is really increasing that gap. I'm not sure what's actually going on.
Yeah, he's saying, see you later, bud. He's trying to go chase down Garrett Maines, which he's got a heck of a task in front of him, being 4.1 seconds back. I don't think that's going to happen unless a yellow flies here with 20 to go. It's looking good for Garrett Maines out front, just setting sail. But these three are going to battle it out for second, and you never know what can happen. Garrett still has 20 laps to go to make sure he runs consistent and doesn't make a mistake.
Right, that's going to be the big thing. Garrett Maines, he's up front, has a 4-second lead, so right now it's going to be a mistakeless. If he can be very mistakeless, error-free, the car is going to be blameless. If he can be like that, then he is going to be able to win this race. If he can keep it clean for the rest of this race, he's going to have lap traffic probably that he's going to need to pass, but if he can make it by that, then he's going to be smooth sailing.
Oh, no doubt. It's like the 83 took off there for a moment, and he's found himself back in the clutches of the 04 truck of Matthew Lee and company. Looks like the 29 starting to work on Matthew Lee. Derek Fulton has made his way back into the ordeal here. He's going to try to get his name in there into the top 3 before it's all said and done. We see the 04 makes a little bit of a mistake in the center, and the 29 gets a run, not quite enough. Fulton gets loose. They're back off of 4, falls behind just a little bit, and these guys stay single file at the moment.
All right, we'll see what Nicholas Sacco is going to have anything for Matthew Lee as we near 10 laps to go very soon here at New Hampshire. That's not going to be a lot of time. Matthew Lee, he's starting to catch Brandon Gagnon again.
It looks Jimmy Frazier finally called it quits, said he's had enough. That truck just would not go for him anymore. He is now listed as a DNF and has pulled in. We still got the battle going on here, 2nd through 4th.
Yeah, not the day that Jimmy Frazier wanted. He was up in the front pack for a little while, but then got in a couple incidents that really hurt that 6 machine. So disappointed for him, but we'll see if he can do it next time.
Jason Maines has still not recovered from his little incident with Derek Fulton earlier. It was just small. I didn't think he really got much damage, but I mean, he is sitting in the 7th position, but he's 3 seconds back off of 6th and another 3 seconds off of Derek Fulton. They're into the top 5. So not the day he wanted to finish with after running top 3 there for a while. He is the hard charger thus far, though, 13th to 7th place. As far as I can tell, nobody else has quite made up the ground as such as he has.
Right, he has the same tires that Garrett Maines has. So he has very old tires compared to, say, Brandon Gagnon or Matthew Lee. So that might be the reason why he's running farther back than maybe he should be if he had fresh tires.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very possible. Maybe he's out, or maybe he's saving it for the right time. That's more so likely the case, unless he really came down and used all 6 sets already. I could imagine he's just saving it for one more go here at the end if he's got 1 set. That would be the smartest thing you could do here. With the way this race is shaped up to be, with the cautions have just laid right, to not quite use 6 sets.
Garrett Maines, he currently is now 6 seconds ahead of everybody. We're nearing 10 laps to go. That'll be 10 mistake-free laps for Garrett Maines. That's all he needs to do, and he'll get the win here at New Hampshire. He's pretty much won every single race this season. Only other driver was Curtis Critchley.
Wow. That's just impressive to see someone that dominant. It's very tough to do. It's hard to be that consistent at every single track.
Well, that battle's going on. Let's look back at with Brandon Gagnon and Matthew Lee. They're back here still battling.
Yeah, they're still going toe-to-toe here for that second position. Trying to see who's going to get that outside restart. I'm not sure where I'd rather be. I think I'd rather be in third and try to clear second after seeing the way the one truck gets to run. Ooh, and the 29 gets a little loose. Gives Derek Fulton the room on the outside, the place to be, the Toys for Tots machine. Taking a ride on the outside here. He may clear him up off of 4. And there he is. He's coming up off of 4. They're door to door. He doesn't quite clear him. And there it is. He did clear him. He finished him there mid straightaway. He gets by him. The 7 truck has taken over the top 4 position. The 29 still sitting into the top 5, so he probably feels good about that, but he doesn't want to give up no more positions this late in the race. We got 10 to go.
Yep, this is getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Does anybody have anything? I feel like nope. As long as Garrett Maines can run a mistake-free race, he's got it. So right now the position that everybody wants is that second position that Brandon Gagnon has. Does Matthew Lee have anything for him? Derek Fulton? We'll see.
It's hard to say. I think Matthew Lee, even with all the damage he has, if this comes down to a late race restart with fresh tires, and he doesn't have to start much worse than the 5th position, I mean, there's only 8 cars left on the lead lap after starting with the 14 we had. There's only 8 cars left on the lead lap. Worst case, you can start, it's 8th. And more than likely, if anybody else has tires, they're going to come down. And it's really on the one truck to make that decision. The other thing you got to think about is the yellow does fly. And I'm not sure how many green-white checkers we have, but it can put you in a position where you don't have the time because other people get in wrecks trying to make it from front to back. So it all depends. But this is what I'm looking at right here. Matthew Lee getting in a battle with Gagnon. This is really not what Garrett Maines wants. He wants this to go single file, finish out, green flag. But if these guys get racing and something happens, one of them gets together, that yellow flag flies, he's got a lot of decision to make.
Right. You've said it time and time again. If the late race caution does come out, these drivers are most likely going to do the opposite of what Garrett Maines does up front.
Yeah, absolutely. Matthew Lee got a little bit tight that time around. Looks like he's put a little bit of a gap on his own doing there between him and Gagnon. They're starting to stretch it out. I highly doubt that there is going to be a yellow with the way these guys have raced the last several laps. But if it does come down to the end, it can get exciting. Matthew Lee is trying all he can. You can see him just working that machine. It's all torn up. The left front fender's banged in. The right side's banged in. And the left rear spoiler is jacked up on that truck, and he doesn't care. He's just willing his way to a top 3 finish here. We actually have a little bit of contact behind there. Looks like Derek Fulton and the 29 truck just got caught into each other a little bit, but no wreck, no damage. But I did see on the corner of my eye a little bit of contact there between the two. They've stretched it apart for now.
Yeah, Derek Fulton, he is running away from Nicholas Sacco, but right now the main battle next time by is going to be 5 laps to go. Garrett Maines now has 7-second lead. I think if he can keep it dialed in for the rest of this race, he's going to get the win. So let's watch second place to see who's going to be the runner-up tonight. And that's pretty honorable. If you finish second, they're racing with a pro and Garrett Maines. They've hung with him. So a second is going to be just as important than first. Of course, first is the best, gives you the most points, but second, got to be proud of that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, with a guy with the pedigree of Garrett Maines, to finish in the top 3 and right behind him, runner up to him, you got to be proud of it no matter what it looked like at the end, because these guys have stayed for the most part within a straightaway of them. There was a lot of competitive trucks early on in the race, but I think a lot of these guys got hung up in different incidents. Really, these guys are like the survival of the fittest. All their trucks have a little bit of damage on it from an incident at some point, where Garrett Maines has kept that thing clean and out front and has just taken off here. 3 to go. It looks like it's all Garrett Maines. He's really just praying for this not to come down to a yellow. Matthew Lee works on the 83 truck of Brandon Gagnon. He's working him in here. He's been doing it for the last 20 laps, just can't quite get to him. He's been trying using all his will to get to him. He just doesn't quite have enough, I don't think. We'll see what happens.
Yep, we're coming down to 2 laps to go here. Matthew Lee doesn't have a lot of time left to try to get by Brandon Gagnon. Now 2 laps to go.
Absolutely. As they battle, Garrett just sets sail. He's dealing in lap traffic while these two just battle it out. Garrett is just in another zip code. As these guys are coming down the backstretch, the one truck's going to come down the front stretch to take 1 lap to go. But we're looking at the race for second. Pretty much what it's been all day. Matthew Lee peeking his nose down. Looks like he's got a little bit of a run there, but not quite enough to get to the back bumper of the 83 truck. 1 to go here.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless he can get a really good run on the straightaway and then execute it in the turn. I think that Brandon Gagnon, I don't know. He's right there with him. Let's see if he's going to try to do anything in the turns.
And off of turn 4, we're going to have Garrett Maines take to Smithfield #1 to a dominant performance. He's going to lead all 200 laps. We're going to fall back here. We got Matthew Lee battling out, not quite enough. He's going to finish 3rd. Brandon Gagnon holds them off for the 2nd position. What a race today.
Yep. Congratulations to Garrett Maines on getting yet another win on his impressive resume. And also,
Derek Fulton. Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yep, good job also to Brandon Gagnon, Matthew Lee, Garrett Fulton. He finished 4th, Nicholas Sacco 5th, and we're going to get the top 3 driver interviews into this. Of course, let's watch this burnout of Garrett Maines. A little bit hard